Welcome back to the channel Home of Programming. In today's session, we will continue to work with graphics, right? So what we will learn today is we will learn to create a path in HTML, right? That is, using path we will create other shapes such as circle, arc, lines, etc., right? So we will create any shapes other than rectangle and squares, right? So the purpose of using path is to create any other shapes other than rectangle or square. Only for rectangle or square we are having the function rectof, which we discussed in the previous session, right? So in today's session we will be creating other shapes such as circle, triangle, pentagon, like this, right, using path, right? So let's see how to do it, right? So create a new file for creating path. Right, so just start with the format of your HTML. So HTML is not case sensitive languages, so here we have used doc type in smaller case, which will not be an issue, right? Just provide a title for your web page. Right. So here what we are going to do is we need to create a single canvas. Inside it we have to place our element, right? So we are going to create a path. Using that path we can create any other shapes, right? So for that I am going to create a canvas, right? So in yesterday's session we have discussed the attribute of canvas, right? The first attribute is the ID using which the canvas can be accessed, right? So after that the width and height of a canvas, right? So if you want to style your canvas, you can use the inline style, right? So now we have created a canvas. To make this canvas visible in your web page, we need to access it, right? So to access the canvas, we have to use JavaScript coding, right? So we have to access the canvas with the help of ID parameter, right? Hence, so create a new variable and store the canvas inside that variable using the document.getElementById function. So this function takes the ID attribute value of the respective tag, right? So here we are using the value as myCanvas, which is nothing but the value provided for ID attribute of our canvas element, right? So after that we need to define the context for our graphical elements, right? So we have to call the method getContext with the object C, which holds the canvas, right? So here inside the variable C we have stored the canvas element. Hence using that object we have to call the function getContext to define our context, which is nothing but 2D or 3-dimensional, right? So now save your program and run it. So here a canvas has been drawn, right? Inside it we are going to define a path, right? So to define a path, we have to use a single functions, right? So here the purpose of defining path is to draw any other shapes other than rectangle or square, right? So here path is nothing but connecting more than one points, right? So if you connect more than one points or multiple points, that can be considered as a path, right? So before creating a code, let's see the functions inside a path, right? So the first function is begin path of, which doesn't take any parameter, and close path of. These two are the base functions inside our path, right? So these two functions takes no argument, but these two functions are responsible for creating and ending a path, right? For example, if you are going to create a line, you have to begin a path before that, and after drawing a line you have to end that particular path, right? So these two are the basic functions, right? So what are the other function we are having inside a form is move to, right? So and line to. So here this move to function is used to move a particular graphical element to a particular x and y coordinates, and this line to of function create a line from the specified x and y coordinates, right? So other than this, what we are having is fill. So this fill function also takes no argument. So to create our graphical element, this fill function can be used, right? So after that we are having arc and arc2 of function. So these two functions can be used to create a circle, right? So not only circle, the main purpose of the arc function is to create an arc, right? So if we connect multiple arcs, it can be a circle, right? So the circle can be drawn with the help of arcs, right? So in HTML we are not at all having any functions specified as circle, right? Hence we have to use the arc function to draw a circle, right? So the arguments taken by arc function is x and y coordinates, radius, starting angle and ending angle, and the clockwise or anti-clockwise direction, right? So this x and y coordinates is the starting value for your x-axis and the value for your y-axis, then radius of your circle, then this starting angle and ending angle specifies the angle in which the circle or the arc has to be drawn, and the angle in which the circle or an arc has to be end, right? So this clockwise parameter is optional. So either if you want to draw a circle in clockwise or anti-clockwise direction, if you want to specify that, you can specify. If you don't want to specify such clockwise or anti-clockwise direction, you can skip that, right? So let's see how to use these functions in our coding, right? First, what we are going to do is we are going to create a path, right? So hence we are using ctx.beginPathOf, where ctx is a variable in which we have defined our context, right? So here c and ctx are user defined variables. You can name it as per your wish, right? Then close the path, ctx dot. So using these two functions doesn't make any changes in your output, just it creates a path and ends a path, right? So inside it we can draw any kind of shapes, right? So let us use the function move to and line to, right? So now, as we have seen in the rectangle function itself, after calling the rectangle function, we called the stroke function so that our rectangle gets an outline of black. Similarly, to make a line visible in a web page, we have to call the function stroke, right? So the stroke function is responsible for providing an outline, right? Just save your program and rerun it. So what happened here is, just check your code with the output, right? Here we have called the line2 of function, which is responsible for making a line with the coordinates x as 40. Hence, from the x-axis 40, the line has been moved to the x-axis of 440, right? So this is why we have called the move2 function and line2 of function. So using this, you can also create a triangle too, right? So to create a rectangle, we have to draw another two lines and match it with the exact coordinates so that our line will look as a triangle, right? So for providing the exact coordinates, we have to provide randomly, and depending on the output we get, we have to change our coordinates, right? Just look at our output. We are having a line, then we have to add the second line, right? So in the first move2 function, we have used the x coordinate value as 440, and in the line2 function we have used the x coordinate as 40, right? Here the line has been drawn from 40 to 440 in the x-axis, right? Hence, so this particular point is 440, right? This particular x-axis is 440 and the corresponding y-axis for that is 50, right? So here this portion for y-axis is 100, right? Just keep your coding along with your output so that you can understand this. Here the line has been drawn from the x-axis, that is have a look of horizontal section in this, that is from the margin of your web page. The first line has been drawn from 40 and it goes up to the x-axis of value 440, right? Hence here the starting point will be 40 and the ending point is 440, right? Similarly, in the y-axis also, that is considered with vertical section, here it goes from 50 to 100, right? So if we have to draw another set of line here, we have to use the x-axis with 440 and y-axis with 50, right? So let's do that. Create another move2 of function with x-axis as 440 itself, 40, 500, and the line2 of function as 440, which is here. We have to draw a line like this, right? Hence we have to start the x-axis value as 440, which is a end point of the previous line we have drawn, right? 440, 50. So just save and run your program. Yes. So here the line has been drawn from the x-axis 440 to the x-axis 40. So if we don't want to have this in 40, you can change it, right? So if you want to skip this to 200, you can do that. So now we have skipped with the line 200, right? So similarly, according to your wish, you can change the coordinate. So to create a rectangle, we have to draw another two lines and match it with the exact coordinates so that our line will look as a triangle, right? So for providing the exact coordinates, we have to provide randomly, and depending on the output we get, we have to change our coordinates, right? Just look at our output. we are having a line, then we have to add the second line, right? So in the first move to function, we have used the x coordinate value as 440, and in the line 2 function we have used the x coordinate as 40, right? Here the line has been drawn from 40 to 440 in the x-axis, right? Hence, so this particular point is 440, right? This particular x-axis is 440 and the corresponding y-axis for that is 50, right? So here this portion for y-axis is 100, right? Just keep your coding along with your output so that you can understand this. Here the line has been drawn from the x-axis, that is have a look of horizontal section in this, that is from the margin of your web page. The first line has been drawn from 40 and it goes up to the x-axis of value 440, right? Hence here the starting point will be 40 and the ending point is 440, right? Similarly in the y-axis also, that is considered with vertical section, here it goes from 50 to 100, right? So if we have to draw another set of line here, we have to use the x-axis with 440 and y-axis with 50, right? So let's do that. Create another move to of function with x-axis as 440 itself, 40, 500, and the line 2 of function as 440, which is here. We have to draw a line like this, right? Hence we have to start the x-axis value as 440, which is the end point of the previous line we have drawn, right? 440, 50. So just save and run your program. Yes. So here the line has been drawn from the x-axis 440 to the x-axis 40. So if we don't want to have this in 40, you can change it, right? So if you want to skip this to 200, you can do that. So now we have skipped with the line 200, right? So similarly, according to your wish, you can change the coordinate. So if you want to keep this as 40, you can keep it, right? So if you want to change the value to some other values such as 200 or 100, you can change it. So according to your wish, you can make your triangle, right? So here I am keeping it as 40, as we can have a straight triangle, right? So now we have to create a third line, line 2 of 40, 100. Sorry, move to of 40, 100. After that, ctx dot line 2 of 40, 500, right? Yes. So now we have drawn a triangle, right? So by this way you can create n number of shapes. If you want to create a pentagon, you can create. So for a pentagon there will be 5 sides, right? So you have to create another 2 set of line 2 and move to function with proper coordinates, right? So you can try creating pentagon, right? So the only thing is you have to concentrate on creating your coordinates. So all of a sudden we can't exactly provide the coordinates. We have to check for random coordinates, and depending on our output we have to provide the exact coordinate, right? Just try it once again, right? So this is all about making a triangle, right? Now what we are going to do is we are going to create a circle, right? So for that we have to call the function arcof, right, which takes the x and y coordinates as let the x coordinate be 440 and the y coordinate be 100, right. After that we have to provide the radius and starting and ending value, right. So if you want to provide the last parameter which determines the clockwise or anti-clockwise direction, you can provide it. So this clockwise or anti-clockwise direction takes only boolean values, true or false, right. So after that we have to provide the fill style for your circle, then finally call the fill of function so that your circle is filled with the respective color. Here circle has been drawn, but we have to change the y-axis, right. So we have provided the y-axis as 100, just change it to 700. It has been drawn below. Why our circle is merging with our triangle is, the reason for that is we have closed the path after a circle, right. If we close the path before this, so our circle will not merge with the triangle, right. So here the circle is separated and the triangle is separated. You can adjust the value of y-axis to view the full circle, right. So here we have created a circle, right. So in a similar manner you can create. So if you want to have all your HTML graphics in single path, you can create it if you want. So but if you create all the graphical element inside a single path, your graphical elements will get merged, right. So that you have to create a separate path for each graphical elements, right. So at some scenarios you may want to have n number of graphical elements in single path. For example, if you are creating any kind of gaming which involves characters, in such kind of scenarios you can have multiple graphical elements inside a single path, right. So this is a way of creating a path, and using a path we can create other shapes, right. So now what we can do is we can create a simple wall clock, right, using the graphical shapes and text, right. So to create a wall clock, what are the steps we have to do is we have to create, the first step is to create a canvas, right. So this we can do by adding canvas tag with proper attributes, right. The second step is to draw a circle, base circle for your clock, right. So to add a base circle we can use arcof function, right, with the parameters x and y values, radius for the circle, starting angle and ending angle, right. So if you want to specify the direction you can specify, right. So the third step, we have to make the circle to look like a clock. So we have to do some design options for the circle, like adding gradient stroke effect, right, for the outer circle created in step 2, right. The fourth step is to add a middle point inside a clock, right. So after that we have to provide numbers and other 3 angles, which are the one will be larger and shorter static lines which will indicate a time, and another one for indicating the seconds, which will be in rotation forever, right? So finally we have to use the date function to calculate the time, right? So calculate time. So these 6 steps are involved in creating a live wall clock with HTML, right? So let's create a new file. Save this as clock. So if you want to remember the step, we can have the step here, right? So now what we are going to do is, as usual, we are starting our HTML with doctype HTML tag, and we are proceeding with the structure of HTML, right? So inside body, we are going to create a canvas, right? So just provide parameters for your canvas. This can be any value, this is user defined, and specify width and height, right? So if you want to add some styling, you can add it, right? So now I'm adding some background color, right? So we have created a canvas, then we have to access the canvas using JavaScript, right? For that we have to create a variable and store the ID attribute of our canvas element inside a variable, right, which is my canvas, right? The second step is to define the context, which is the dimension of the object, right? So all these things we have discussed in previous examples, right? So if you have not checked about previous example of how to access and define the canvas, I am providing the link in the description. Kindly check it out so that you can have clear understanding of these canvas, right? Just save your program and run it. So here our canvas is there, right? So we have completed the first step, right? The second step is to create a base circle, right? We have to create one circle. So we are going to create a circular wall clock. If you want to create a wall clock in square shape, you can use rectangle instead of circle, right? So but you have to specify the width and height of the rectangle to be similar so that it looks like a square, right? As we don't have any functions for directly making a square, right? So now I'm going to create a function, just draw clock off, right? Inside it what I'm going to do is create a arc function, right? ctx.arc of 0, 0. So we will calculate radius. After that starting and ending angle, right? So I don't want to specify any direction here, so I have skipped the last parameter, right? And ctx.fill style. So just provide any color for your circle and we have called it, right? So here we didn't provide any value for the radius, right? So we have to calculate the radius. So as radius is half of the diameter, we can literally consider the height of a canvas as diameter and we can divide it by 2, right? Here we have stored our canvas element inside a variable c, right? Hence, to calculate our height of the canvas, we can write it as c dot, which is the variable inside which our canvas element is stored, right? So c dot height will retrieve the height of your canvas, and we need to calculate radius, right? So height divided by 2, which is equal to diameter divided by 2, right? So now we have calculated the radius value and stored it inside a variable, right? So which will be equal to 200, right? So simply we can provide it as 200 itself too, right? So now we have provided the arc inside a function, right? We have to call the function before running our program, right? Just save your program and rerun it. So here circle has been drawn, however it is not inside our canvas, right? Hence we have to translate the circle to some other location, which is the middle of your canvas, right? So to do so, we can translate our circle with the help of radius, right? So ctx dot translate. This translate function moves a particular element from one position to another, right? So what we can do here is we can move the circle based on its radius, right? So just save your program and run it. So now the circle has been drawn, however it is not fit inside the canvas. Hence we can reduce the radius into 95%, right? So the circle depends on its radius alone, right? Hence we have to reduce the size of the circle, so we have to reduce the radius into 95%, right? For that, what we can do is radius, already we have defined that variable, hence radius equal to radius into 0.95, which is equal to 95%, right? Just save and rewrite. So here inside it we have literally provided as 200, right? So instead of that you can write it as radius itself, right? So now the circle is completely accommodated inside a canvas, right? So we have completed the first two steps for creating a wall clock, right? So the third step is to add some design options for your circle to look like as a clock, right? Now we can create another one function for making a circle to look like a clock, and inside it we can add some gradient effect and the midpoint of a clock, right? So here we are going to create a make a function as clock effect, right? So we are going to make this function as a parameterized function, hence this is a circle related program, right? So the entire process of a clock we are making it with the help of circle, right? So the circle depends on its radius alone, right? Hence we are going to add the parameter radius, and before that we have to provide the context, right? So at each step we are using the context variable to call the functions, right? Hence we have to use the first parameter as context. As it is a circle, we are using the second parameter to be the radius, right? So we are having this function and we have to call this function inside our draw clock function, or you can separately call the functions, right? So now what I am going to do is I want to create a gradient effect for the circle, right? So as in the previous example, we are creating a variable is equal to ctx dot create a radial gradient of So let it be x and y axis as 0, 0. So we can convert the radius into 95%. After that, the angle in which the gradient should be displayed. After that, again radius, right? So we are making the radius into 105%, right? So now we have provided the axis coordinates for your gradient effect. Now we need to add the colors, right? Add colors stopper. So this value can be the first parameter of add color stopper function should be between 0 and 1. Hence the first color can be 0. Sorry, the first value of first color can be 0. So you can use any colors such as add color stop of 0.5. So now we have added the colors and we need to provide the stroke style, right? So either you can use stroke style or fill style, right? So I just want to make the circle to be outlined with this gradient effect, hence I am using stroke style, right? After that, CTH start, we can add the width for our circle, right? So finally call the stroke function, right? So now what we have done is we have created a gradient effect for our circle, right? Just save and rerun your program. Now, so what we have done is we have missed the parameters while calling the function, right? Just the prototype of a function should be similar in the calling function too, right? So add parameters inside your clock effect of calling, right? So just save and rerun. So we have added this gradient effect to our circle, right? So the next step is to create a midpoint in which the angles will be displayed, right? So for creating a midpoint, we have to create an arc function. Let it be 0, 0, and we can have the radius to be reduced to 10%. Why we are reducing it to 10%? So if we didn't reduce the value of radius, the circle will come along with the other circle, right? So just provide the value of radius as itself and provide it. Add some fill styling. Let the color be black and call the fill of function. Now save your program and run it. So this is why we are reducing the radius into 10%, because we have to place the circle as a midpoint inside a circle. That midpoint should be the center in which all the three angles should be displayed. So just you can reduce the value of your radius. So if we reduce it into 50%, just for an example, so if here we have reduced the radius to 50%, just reload it. Again it is displaying inside a circle. So reduce it into 10%, right? So here we have to create a begin path. So right. Now save your program and rerun it. So the reason for adding begin path is, so in the previous example also we are having one triangle and circle, right? So while making a circle we have created a new path, right? So that the two elements get separated. If we don't use begin path for each separate graphical element, each graphical elements will be merged. That is what happened here too, right? So though we have reduced the radius of this smaller circle to 10%, it is not coming inside the center, right? So we have to create path for each graphical element, right? So with this we have completed our 4 steps, right? So remaining steps are to create a numbers and 3 angles and finally calculate the time, right? So now we are going to create a numbers, right? So just create a function for adding our numbers with the parameters context and radius, right? So call this function inside our draw clock of function, right? Right. Here what we have to do is we have to calculate the angle for positioning each number and another one variable for storing the particular number. Hence we have to create one variable angle, another one variable for placing the number. This variable is for positioning the each numbers, say 1, 2 and 3, like it goes up to 12, right? So for positioning all these numbers we are having angle variable, and for storing that particular number we are having number variable, right? Now what we have to do is, so we are going to place a number, right? So the process should be repeated for 12 times. Hence we have to make a loop for this, right? We can make a loop so that number of steps will be reduced, right? So here the starting value of your number will be 1. So we have to repeat the loop until it is 12. So number less than 12 we have to increment it, right? So what we have to do inside it is we have to calculate the value for positioning the numbers, right? So here angle is equal to number into pi value divided by 6. Here why we are dividing it by 6 is, so in our clock it is a circle, right? If we place 12 here, we have to place 6 here. Similarly in the left hand side we have to place a set of numbers, and in the right hand side we have to place another set of numbers. So the angle for, if we find the angle for placing the number 12, the negative value of that number will be equal to the value of 6, right? So that we are dividing it by 6, right? So if we calculate the angle for one side, we can make the another side values with the negative, right? So here we are dividing the value by 6, right? Then we have to rotate the value, right? Angle, right? So that is, we have to place the element to the specified angle, right? So after that we have to use the translator function to place each individual numbers, right? For that we can reduce the size of each radius to 85%, right? So again we have to do it for another right hand side, right? Rotate of minus angle, right? I hope you are clear with this. This is for left hand side, and we can repeat this for our right hand side with the value of radius to be positive, right? So here one angle will be positive and another one will be negative, right? So here we have created the angles for placing each element. Now we have to position the numbers, right? That is, we have to print the numbers. For that, number is a text, right? We are going to print some kind of text, hence we can use the function fill text of. Inside it we can provide the numbers. So we have stored the number inside a variable num, hence number dot to string of, right? We have to provide the number, after that the coordinates of x and y axis. Let it be 0, 0, right? Just save your program and run it. So here we have placed the numbers inside a clock, right? So now we can increase the size of our variable numbers, right? For that, we can specify the font size by using the context variable, right? So using that context variable, we can call the property font. Inside it you can specify the font size along with the font name, right? So if we want to specify have the numbers to be center aligned, you can use the function text align, right? Just save and run your program. So I hope this is fine, right? So the next step is to provide angles, right? So now we have to calculate the timing and we have to draw lines for minute hand, hour hand and seconds hand, right? For this, these three lines should be displayed depending upon the time, right? So if the time is 12, the minute and hours should be at the number 12 and the seconds hand should be in rotation, right? So for this we have to calculate the time. After that we can calculate the angle for placing each hands, which is minute, hour hand and seconds hand, right? So let's see how to do it, right? So here we have to create another one function for calculating time, right? So here also we are going to use the parameters context and radius, right? So before processing your function, call this function inside our draw clock of function, right? Calculate time of ctx, radius, which is your context and the radius, right? So now what we have to do is we have to calculate the current time. So for that we have to use the class date, right? So here we have created one variable current. So inside it what we are going to store is, we are going to store the current system time, right? So for that we have to use the class date, right? This date is a built-in class. Inside it contains functions for processing minutes, hours and seconds, right? So we are creating an object for this particular class, right? So to create an object in JavaScript, we have to use the keyword var followed by your object name. Here this object name is user defined name. You can name it according to your wish, right? So after that new keyword should be used. This purpose of new keyword is it creates a memory space for new objects, right? After that the corresponding class for which you are creating object should be used, right? So here var is a keyword, current is a user defined object equal to new user keyword, which is used for providing a memory space, and date is a constructor of date class, right? So we have calculated and stored the current time inside a variable current, right? Then we have to split this into hours, minute and seconds, right? So let's create variables for hours, minutes and seconds, right? So what we are going to do is, we are going to calculate the current hours. So if the time is 11:15, hours value will be 11 and the minutes value will be 15, right? So variable hours is equal to current dot get hours of, right? This get hours is a function inside a date class, whereas current is our user defined object. So similarly we can calculate minutes and seconds, right? So current dot get seconds of, right? So we have calculated minutes, hours and seconds, right? Then there is two kinds of time format by default, right? One is 12-hour format, another is 24 hours format. So if you are using 24 hours format, you have to display the time. If the time is 1 o'clock, you have to return it as 13, right? So 14, 15 and it goes on up to 24, right? So and again it comes to 1, 2, 3, 4 like that, right? So here we are going to use a 12-hour format, right? So we are just having a clock, right? So we have to use 12 hours format. For that we are going to convert our hours into 12-hour format. For that we are performing modulo operation on hours. This 12 is used for 12 hours format, right? So here why we are dividing our hours into 12 by 12 is, we are going to use 12 hours format. So for example, if the time is 10:20, the hour value will be 10, right? At this step the variable hours will get the value 10 if that time is 10:20, right? So when we perform modulo operation on this, so hours modulo 12, that is 10 mod 12, right? So here the remainder value will be 10, right? So if we perform modulo operation on two variables, if the dividend is lesser than the divisor, the dividend will be your remainder, right? So we have performed modulo operation on our house variable, right? Then now we have to calculate the angle for placing our house hand, minute hand and seconds hand, right? So if we want to place the hour hand at an angle of 45 degree, we can provide it as 45 degree. But the thing is, we are not going to place that particular hour hand statically, right? So it is going to be in rotation according to the current time value, right? So for that we have to convert degrees into radians, right? So that is the default formula for converting your degrees to radians. So for example, if it is 90 degree, the corresponding radian value will be pi by 2, right? So if it is 60 degree, the corresponding radian value will be pi by 3. If it is 45 degree, the corresponding radian value will be pi by 4, and if it is 30 degree, the corresponding radian value will be pi by 6, right? So here we are going to place three set of lines, right? One is for hours hand and another one is for minute and another one is for second, right? So we have to calculate the radians, that is calculate angle in radians for all the three, right? Hours, minutes and and seconds, right? So here the total circumference, that is the total value of a circle, is 360 degree, right? And we are going to use 12 hours format, right? So 30 into 12 will be 360, right? So we are going to have 30 degrees for hours hand, minute hand and seconds hand, right? Hence we have to divide the value of pi by 6, because the corresponding radian value for 30 degree is pi by 6, right? Hence we have to calculate the value by dividing pi value by 6, right? So let us calculate the value for Haas angle, right? For that, Haas, which is the current value of Haas, right? Haas into pi value. So either you can use maths.pi, or simply you can provide 3.14, which is a value of pi, right? Pi value divided by 6, right? After that we have to store the minute. Current value of minutes into pi value divided by 6 into 60. So why here I have multiplied the 6 with 60 is 1 minute is equal to 60 seconds, right? For that we have added 6 into 60, right? So after that, seconds into pi value divided by 360 into 60, right? So for seconds we have used 360 because we are going to rotate the seconds hand forever, right? So that we have provided the value 360, right? So similarly for minute, we have to calculate the current value of minute with dividing the pi value by 30. So why we have divided the pi value by 30 is the angular velocity of the minute hand in a clock is pi by 30. So we are calculating the pi value by, we are calculating the minute value by multiplying the current minute into pi divided by 30, which is nothing but the angular velocity of the minute hand of a clock, right? So along with this we have to add the seconds, right? Similarly for seconds into pi value divided by 30 into 60, right? So we have to mention the seconds, right? And finally seconds. So for that we can do as second into pi value divided by 30 into 60, right? Right. So now we have calculated the angle for Haas hand, minutes hand and seconds hand, right? So now we have to draw a line for each hands, right? So for drawing a line we can have separate function. So to draw a line, our context should be there, position should be there, length and width of the line should be there, right? Here position is nothing but the angle that we have calculated, right? So here we can create a path. So if you don't wish to create a path, you can skip that. So and then provide the width value for your path, line with equal to width. So what we are going to do is we are going to reduce the radius into 50% for length and reduce the radius into 70% for width. So this is not only the way for calculating your length and width, you can also provide your own values such as 50, 60 or 100, something like that for your width and height, right? So as it is a circle, I am calculating it with radius, right? And then, so move from origin, right? So we are having our circle in the origin position, hence from origin we have to rotate to the corresponding angle we have calculated in the calculate time of function for hours hand, minute hand and seconds hand, right? So then we have to draw a line, right? So let the length be 50% of our radius, right? So we have to call the stroke function so that your line will be visible with black color, right? And then finally rotate the value with negation of our angle so that it comes for all the two sides, right? So now we have calculated we have drawn the lines for 3 hands, which is minute, hours and seconds, right? Now what we have to do is we have to call this draw line of function inside our draw clock of, right? So what we have to do is if we call the draw lines of function inside our draw clock, each time after calculating the time the hands will be drawn, right? So along with the time we have to display and rotate the hands, right? For that what we can do is we can call the function draw lines of immediately after calculating the hours, minutes and seconds, right? So for that we can call the function as draw lines of. Inside it we are going to place the parameters. One is context and the calculated hours value, and the remaining two are length and width, right? As I told you already, we are going to reduce the value of radius into 50% for length and radius into 70% for width, right? Similarly, we can call the function after calculating the minutes and seconds for drawing a hand for minutes and seconds, right? So change the values, minutes, seconds. So here we can reduce the value of length and width, right? So now save and run your program, right? So here lines has been drawn, but we have to make this seconds hand to be in rotation. So we have to calculate the live timing, right? So for that we have to set intervals, right? So what we are going to do is, so inside our draw clock of function, if we add the set interval of function with the draw clock and the value to be interval value to be set as 1000, just save and run. So the timing is correct and the second hands is also rotating. However, the extra 2 lines are also coming along with the second hand, right? So what happens here is, so at each time we are going to set intervals, the corresponding functions are called, right? So instead of this, we can call this function outside of draw clock function. So and inside set interval we have called the draw clock. So if we call the draw clock function separately, the remaining functions will be executed twice, right? So you can make it as command line or you can simply remove that, and we can have the these inside the clock effect function itself, right? So now you can remove these lines. Now save and run your program. So here the second hand is rotating and the time is correct. However, the extra lines comes when the second hand starts to rotate, right? So this is because we have created the begin path of function after creating a circle, right? So just create the path before creating your circle, right? So just create your circle after beginning your path function, right? Just save and run your program. Everything will be fine, right? So this formula we can make it in command line. So if we make it that, our output will be fine, right? So this is a way of creating a wall clock with HTML graphics. If you are strong in mathematics, you can create it very easily, right? So once again, I would like to repeat the steps what we have done for creating a wall clock in HTML, right? First, we have created a canvas with a background color of some value. After that, we have created a circle using the ORCO function, right? So to make the circle inside the canvas, we have reduced the radius of the circle to 95% and translated the circle according to the radius, right? So after that, what we have done is we have added some design options for our circle, so that here we have added gradient effect to the outer layout of our circle, right? So after that, what we have done is we have created this midpoint using ORC function by reducing the value of radius to 10%, right? So after that, using fill text function, we have created these numbers and set font size, right? So after that, what we have done is we have calculated the time, and depending on that time, we made the angles to rotate, right? So this is a way of creating time. So this formula will look tedious if you doesn't know how to convert your degrees into radians, right? So just aware of that formula which I have listed below. So just go through it once again so that you can have clear idea of converting degrees into radians. Once you start to convert that, you can clearly calculate the time, right? So with this, we can conclude this session and we can learn some more graphical elements and we can create some animated games with HTML. Until then, stay tuned with Home of Programming and subscribe to our channel for getting live programming videos. Thank you.